I want to segue into how you guys went about the relationship with us, with leading peers. When you and we met back in 2021, you guys were already established. You had your company for 5, 6 years. You were during COVID with all this demand coming, as you were mentioning before, from CEOs that were focused more on the marketing, focusing more on what they could build digitally. You had choices, and you were very mature in your careers, and having had worked as such amazing jobs at YPO, Vistage, other organizations. So what was it about leading peers that made you say, all right, we want to work with this company? What was it about the trajectory of working with us that made you want to continue doubling down and growing together with us, having so many choices where you don't need to just accept any client that walks through the door, and also with you guys investing so much of yourselves, that strategic element, that personal relationship you build with the CEO. What was it about it, and what can you tell our listeners about the experience of working with us, and I don't know, anything you might have picked up or learned along the way?
Oh, Leo, you're just looking for compliments. I immediately, no, I'm serious. Immediately, we clicked with you. I mean, we were just like, it's so funny. Like we have introductory calls, and this happens quite often. Actually, we'll get off the call and just look at each other. Go, oh my god, I loved it. We say, oh my god. Occasionally, it's the opposite. But I mean, I think there has to be a little bit of a chemistry. There has to be like, oh, this is a good person that was doing good things, and we would be a part of that.
But yeah, and I connecting to your vision. And also just being in the space and having a passion for the space. And I just remember like the original six, like we started out with the original six, and that was like the foundation of leading.
Yeah, we had 6 members when we started working together.
Yeah, and I love, I mean, as entrepreneurs, we love building businesses and being part of that. And so, yeah, I feel like, we were also fortunate enough to come along at that time where we were able to join forces and build something from the ground up, which is not always the case. Sometimes we come and establish companies, but to be able to kind of be a part of that, I think it felt very exciting for us to be a part of, and something that we believed.
We felt a real alignment with vision and with values and the way that, we present out into the world with you and with leading peers. So it was a no-brainer to absolutely join the team, and
for sure.
And it's been so exciting.
And what you're creating and helping empower CEOs to be their best selves, so like to create the best businesses, then to create the best families and the world and the community. That's very exciting, and for us to be able to tell those stories. 4 years later, here we are.
Yeah, it's incredible, guys. And you just reminded me, we had 6 members, and they were in one group, one of our first board, and meeting online. And it's funny, that board, I actually am still their facilitator. They met this morning, believe it or not, I just come from that. And they have all this history of 5.5 years together. They've incorporated a couple people have rotated out over that period, but they've really stuck together, and they moved to in-person in 2021. But now, of course, speaking of, moved to in-person in the year 2021, but 21 is the number of groups we now have, and 19 of them meet in person in Orlando, in Tampa, St. Petersburg, and of course, South Florida. We still have a couple online boards, so definitely have been in growth mode, and we're so excited about that. And I know you guys are building some things on our website right now for the regions to come, North Florida, South Georgia, North Georgia. We're so excited about what's next. Which leads me to want to know a little bit more about who's your ideal client? Like what companies does the Dobbins Group like to partner with? What do you look for nowadays in a CEO in terms of knowing, you hinted at that in terms of like, are they doing good? Do we feel that they have the right, their values aligned with ours? Do we want to see them grow and triumph? But is there any other characteristic that you look for? A size, an industry, a location? What else defines like where you say, yes, this is right up our alley?
Yeah. Well, I feel like in terms of like a demographic, small to medium business has been the sweet spot for the Dobbins Group, just because we notice, businesses who fall in that range necessarily don't have full functioning marketing departments. So there's a couple people trying to do all the things. So we've discovered that in those organizations, we can really provide the most value because we can show up. We can also serve as someone on our executive team can serve as a fractional CMO to really kind of help drive the strategy. But then the Dobbins Group becomes basically their extension of their marketing team. So instead of having a couple people try to be good at all the things, the value add just makes a lot of sense. And so when we are strategically going, for us, it's across industries, but I also feel like that part of it, when we focus on kind of the size of the business, is really kind of the sweet spot for us because we know the pain points of those type of companies, and that the Dobbins Group can really help serve in a very strategic way.
Which is interesting, not only that's the baseline, but you think of our construction company, which is a $500 million company, but they only had like 2 people doing marketing.
They had 2 people doing marketing.
So it was like,
but also I think it's in laggard industry sometimes where they necessarily aren't thinking about marketing in that perspective. So that's been also, something for us to explore because it's like in larger companies like that, it's like, oh, they're a $500 million company, but there's 1 person.
And I think in kind of the softer characteristics is, someone who's looking for a partner, not a agency just to come in and work for them. It's to work with them. Is really that's what excites us. Yeah, we can do project work and we can get whatever done, but that's not what we're going after. We're going after those relationships and allow us to again use our full team and use all of our strengths and our tools to help deliver on a strategy.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. One of the things that really stood out to me after each meeting, you would say, we have our marching orders, right? That's your typical phrase. Like, now we have our marching orders. And I'm thinking to myself, did I give them any orders? Like, we were just brainstorming together. We were just like bouncing ideas around what would be great, what would be excellent, what would work. And then all of a sudden you knew what you had to do. So it never felt like, they're working for us. They're working with us is always the way it's felt.
And I feel like, we always want to have that relationship and kind of that open communication, even, when it comes down to navigating the difficult times. And like, I think even with clients and the capacity when we serve as kind of, a fractional CMO, agency, retainer partners, it's an ongoing conversation. So if the business is struggling and there's a downturn, it's not like, oh, we're locked into this like year-long contract. Here's the retainer. It's like, oh, how can we navigate this together? And we always want like our clients to feel that we are there to support and to be part of that. And I think that's also something that differentiates us from a lot of other agencies because it's just kind of like, okay, well, here's our contract and pay us. But, when things are tough, then, like we try to be agile in all areas of our business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as you said that, Jason, I was remembering something that I had completely forgotten about. So after we started working together with you guys back in 2021, there was a moment where the big setup was finished. We had our website, we had a few other marketing assets, and the monthly retainer just seemed too high for our leading peers to sustain over time. And I was just like dying inside because I'm like, I'm going to have to terminate the relationship, which is the last thing I want to do. And so I went to you guys and I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry we can't sustain this retainer. And you're like, are you kidding? Let's just adjust the number of, the scope or the hours. Let's figure out a way to stay together. And it's been 4 years since we redefined, and every year we keep updating it, and that dialogue is there. And so I really have that. I know you guys are all about the value and not trying to sell your clients something. And the other thing I love is many times I'm in a dilemma. I'm a little bit of in a quagmire. I don't know where to go. And I'm getting direct advice. Like, Leo, I think this is going to work. Or, Leo, I would do it this way. And, when you hire like a fractional CMO, you don't want, an order taker. You want somebody that knows more than you, right, in their area, and is able to tell the CEO, like, this is going to work, right? And just give me that confidence that I'm lacking because it's not my wheelhouse. And I don't know how you're going to execute. I don't know what you've seen with other clients and what you've learned in your space because you're always immersed in that space. And so I just defer to you. I trust you. And every time it's paid off.